Hi, it's Mary Jane Cops, the phone lady, coming to you with some skills that you can use yourself or with your sales or customer service team. And these skills match with information we received in our 2025 report on phone and video communication trends. So, our thanks always go out to the 168 CEOs and senior executives that took the time to let us know where conversations were being challenged, where communication in sales and customer service was in need of new ideas and new skills. In this month's video, I'm looking at how we can improve both sales and customer service outcomes by working with decision fatigue. Now, decision fatigue is something that I uncovered 8, 10 years ago, and it changed my world. It changed my world in terms of conversations I have in sales, in conversations I have in customer service, and with friends and family. When I first heard the phrase, I thought it was something that somebody had made up, because of course we get tired of making decisions. But it turned out there was research behind that phrase. And it's the research that blew my mind and really changed how I teach and how I communicate. So before I share that research with you, I have a question I want to ask you, which is how many decisions do you think you make in a day? Now, if we were in a webinar or workshop, I'd get you to tell me your answer. But in this case, think your answer, say it out loud, write it down, whatever's comfortable for you. But do come up with a number of how many decisions you think you make in a day. In workshops and webinars, I'll hear everything from 50 to somewhere in the thousands. The research, which is being done in Europe and the US, indicates that each of us are making 35,000 decisions a day. Now, when I read that, I was shocked and I did not believe it. I was like, not a chance. I'm making that many decisions a day. But I realized that if it was true, it was impacting my sales outcomes, my customer service outcomes, and those of my clients as well. So I embarked on an experiment, which was to take a closer look at the statistic. And I did that by counting my decisions throughout the next day. It was a crazy project to take on, and I'm only going to share the morning with you to give you some insight into how this number, 35,000, makes sense. So, all of us watching this video, and I'll include myself while I make it, we got up this morning, and some of us got up because an alarm went off, some of us hit snooze, and maybe some of us can wake up without an alarm. But that was the first decision of our day. And then we needed to make decisions about breakfast, when we were going to take our shower, and if we had to go somewhere, what time we were going to leave. And some of you are making those decisions for others as well. So perhaps little people, elderly people, teenagers that struggle with decision making, or a partner that's not that good at making decisions. Now, when it came time to decide what you were going to wear today, it's very doubtful that you went through every item in your closet or every sock in your sock drawer. However, as soon as you opened a device, everything changed. So think for a moment that, once you've had breakfast, shower, figured out what time you were going to leave, you pick up your device or you open your device and there's 15 email there. Okay, well, maybe there's 5 you can delete, and I always encourage unsubscribe. Maybe there's 5 you're going to deal with later in the day, but there's 5 that really should be answered. Now, when we go to reply to an email, several things can happen. Maybe it's quick. Maybe it's, yep, the answer to that is yes, thanks for reminding me. And that would be quick. But a lot of emails take time and a lot of decision making as we write the answer. Sometimes we have to go back and read previous emails, or maybe look at a proposal we sent, read the last conversation we had, or think about the last conversation we had. And then we write the email, and then we proof the email. And inevitably, there are things we want to change or massage in some way. So we do that, and then we proof again before we hit send. So lots of decisions happen when we're answering 5 emails. The decisions are really starting to add up. And then technology has given us social media. Now, it's very difficult if you are on an Instagram or a Facebook or whatever your preference is to not get caught in that scroll. And here's what's happening in our brain when we're in that scroll. I'm not going to stop here. 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 We are making decisions constantly. And then when we do decide to stop, there's another set of decisions. Am I going to save this? Am I going to read the comments? Am I going to watch the video? Am I going to share this with someone, etc.? So if you get caught in half an hour on a social media platform, again, hundreds of decisions are taking place very quickly, but they are decisions. Now, when you drive, motion scientists have known for a long time that we make a decision roughly every 20 seconds. We do rear view, we do side view, we slow down, we speed up, we put on our turn signal, we check our blind spot, etc., etc. We are constantly making decisions when we drive. They seem automatic, but that's because we've been driving for a while. They're still decisions. So think about the distance you might drive each day, and think about that, making a decision every 20 seconds. So it really turns out that making 35,000 decisions in a day is easy. And many of you are making more than that. So our prospects and our customers need us to always be prepared to help them make decisions, because they could be in front of us on the phone, on video, in a meeting, and be at their maximum decision making at that moment in the day. Because it goes like this. It's not, I can make all my decisions and then I'm tired. Throughout the day, there's this happening, decision fatigue. So we want to spend time on this because it's impacting all of our communication, not just phone, video, real-time meetings, because our prospects and our clients need us more than ever to help them make decisions. It's vital that we step in as part of our process and really help them make decisions because they're experiencing decision fatigue. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. Not too long ago, I went to a local big box store to buy light bulbs. Now, I guess I hadn't bought light bulbs in a very long time, and I didn't realize that today light bulbs take up a massively long aisle. I got a lot of steps in because I walked up that aisle once. I looked and looked. I couldn't figure it out. I walked back. I walked up again and I took some things out. I looked at them, put them back on the shelf, carried 1 or 2 with me to the end of the shelf. Couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. And there was no one to help me. I walked out of the store. I didn't buy anything. No customer service and no sales help. Decision fatigue. Nothing purchased. Nothing happening. What often happens in a sales process when we don't acknowledge decision fatigue and work with it is a prospect might say, well, let me get back to you, because you've asked them to make a decision when they can't. They're just exhausted at that moment. And we know that the let me get back to you is kind of a nightmare, because what does it mean? Can I call you back in an hour? Can I call you tomorrow? How are we going to do this so that we're really firming up the trajectory we're on for you to become our customer, or for you and I to resolve this issue? So, what we want to do throughout our conversations is to listen for all the opportunities to help our prospects and customers make the next decision, and the next, and the next. So, decision fatigue isn't appearing maybe once in a conversation, it can appear several times in a conversation that you need to work with it. And this is our empathy showing up. This is our compassion showing up for our prospects and our customers, right? We know that they're experiencing all kinds of demands on their time and energy. We have to keep that in mind to increase our outcomes in both sales and customer service. So, although we don't know what are the demands on their time, children, illness in the family, elderly relatives, family emergencies, financial stress, job stress. We don't know, but we know they exist. So we want to bring our empathy and compassion to our communication with them by acknowledging decision fatigue. And when you work with decision fatigue, you are being of service, which creates trust, which creates loyalty, which deepens our relationships with our prospects and our customers. So when we work with decision fatigue, it isn't about being aggressive. It's about being of service, which is what I believe sales is all about. And of course, what customer service is all about. So we want to meet this challenge by always helping our prospects and customers make decisions. We're going to guide them through a process. Now, I mentioned this in last month's video, but I didn't really delve into what I meant by decision fatigue. So now I'm piecing these two things together. Here's the guidelines. Know that decision fatigue is playing a huge role in achieving your sales and customer service outcomes. Absolutely. And you want to then incorporate help into all of your sales and customer service conversations so you can get to yes, or you can get to satisfaction, right? The best way to do this is to incorporate the phrase the next best step, because it supports that prospect or that customer in making their decision, whether it's their final decision or whether it's part of a series of decisions. So, for example, if the aim of speaking to a prospect is that they're going to book a meeting for a demo, you're having that conversation and you're moving towards saying, based on everything you've shared with me, the next best step is for us to book a time for your demo. So you're setting it up that they hear that based on everything they've shared with you, based on how this conversation has gone, you're not making this up. You've listened to them and you've heard that the next best step is to at least book the demo, right? Or let's say that the aim is to satisfy a customer that's been dissatisfied with some service they've received. The conclusion of your conversation with them might be, based on everything you've shared with me, the next best step is for me to speak directly to that staff member and review with them our customer service values. So these are examples only so that you can hear how it sounds. Now, in sales, at the end of the demo, you're going to bring back this same phrasing. And it might be, based on everything we've discussed and the questions you've asked in this demo, the next best step is to get you started on your 1 month trial. Because you don't want to hear that, let me get back to you. And in the customer service scenario, the next conversation might be leading to, in addition, my next best step is to provide you with a complimentary something or other, or a discount of something or other, to acknowledge that we value both your input and your custom. So we keep that customer engaged, we keep that prospect engaged, and we eliminate their decision fatigue by helping them. We eliminate the impact of their decision fatigue by helping them move to the next step. Here are the phrases that you can use. Based on everything you've shared with me, the next best step is. Or based on everything we've discussed, the next best step is. Or based on your answer to that question, the next best step is. So you can use this phrasing several times in a conversation. And you need to know what the next best step is. So is it a new question? Could be. So the next best step, based on your answer, is for me to ask you XYZ. Or is the next best step to organize a meeting? Or to have a follow-up conversation after you do some research? Or to send an email with more information? I'm sure there's more things that you could come up with here for what your next best steps are. But you can hear how we're guiding that prospect or that customer through the conversation, making the conversation flow, which is so important, especially when we are helping our team with anxiety or fear around conversations, whether video, phone, or in person. Giving them a process really helps them have confidence to move through these conversations. And finally, when we use this next best step, it does help reveal objections, which extends the conversation, which is what we want, right? When somebody has an objection or further questions or demands, we want to hear them so we can continue the conversation and strengthen that relationship with that prospect or that customer. So I hope this has been helpful to you and your team. Share the video with them, share the video with other people that you know can benefit from this information. You can also book a conversation with me at a time that works with your schedule if you want to talk a bit more about these or other skills. Thanks so much for your time, and happy October.